Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. You know the drill. If you're new here, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 2K. Also, big up our partners, Manscaped, for everything that a man needs, basically. They're pioneers in below the waist grooming, but the more dive into their catalog, the more very day to day, needy. I mean, day to day. How do you put it? The stuff that you use day to day is basically, all over their catalog, whether it be for, man, woman, all of that. Um, this is the perfect season, if you want to buy someone a gift, especially with Valentine's Day around the corner, feel free to do so. This is a very nice way, for giving something back to the team, basically for doing this nonstop for, over 2.5 years. Yeah, man, perfect excuse. You know the drill. I hope you have the pinned comment more. If you haven't,
Yeah,
just
yeah. I was just like looking for it just to
yeah,
post that.
no worries. It's in the description anyway, people. Um, even for people who are gonna actually tune in later on. Um, Use the code LBR20. I repeat, LBR20 for 20% off and free shipping on everything Manscaped. Yeah, apart from India and Africa, I guess it ships almost everywhere, even in the Middle East, which I was surprised by. But yeah, man, check out Manscaped. Also, I would like to reiterate, once you take a on the surface look at their catalog, things might seem a little steeply priced, but I promise you that the more you look, you will find definitely stuff under £50, €50, $50. Um, yeah, man, Manscaped is here to stay, and yeah, I've been a huge fan of how they have been supporting football causes, especially our family podcast, like across the UK as well. They have been supporting the thing, brothers things, for quite a while. So yeah, man, big up Manscaped again. And without further ado, welcome my esteemed co-host Mo. What's the feeling like? I knew
About
we
Manscaped
talked about
or about the game?
the game for sure. About Manscaped, you had a very in-depth review, in your ad read, which people I'm pretty sure was surprised by, with the amount of detail you went into. But yeah, man, we previewed the game, right?
Yeah.
We knew what Getafe was about, and we knew how they were gonna, handle things. But both you and me, we didn't expect it to be this easy.
Yeah, man. I think both of us we were expecting a KG sort of a game, but it didn't transpire that way. So a win is a win. I guess Joselu really stepped up and made himself count in these key occasions. So I'm pretty happy about the win. The only sad thing is like I want to see how Rudiger is and what his situation is like. So as long as that thing is like as long as his injury isn't serious, I'll be pretty happy with how things went today.
100%. Ancelotti ringed in the changes, 7 changes from our win over Las Palmas, and yeah, man, I guess this was on the cards, especially with the derby, fast approaching. But yeah, like we didn't expect Carlo to make 7 changes though in the preview, right? Like our lineup included a lot of the stronger 11, to say. But
Yeah, like
yeah,
for
very yeah.
personally for me, I wasn't expecting him to go with Lucas Vasquez.
Mm.
I thought that Joselu, we discussed this. I thought Joselu might have been the better option, but I was like of the opinion that it was like unlikely that he was gonna put Rodrigo out. I thought he was gonna start with Rodrigo, Bellingham, and Vinicius, to get a little
Yeah,
bit of rhythm before the game against Atleti. But I think Ancelotti made a wise move. The thing is like teams like this really try it, like usually they try to sit back and put up a big defense against us that kind of like reduced our space. But I think Hetafe today kind of like went against the grain and they gave us a lot of space. And I think
played a very
Joselu,
high line.
yeah, Joselu did a good job exploiting that. And our team did a good job exploiting that.
100%. We'll get to Joselu, but Lucas Vasquez, man, has really made a case for himself to get an extension for sure. I know this is just Hetafe. This is maybe people would me come in after me claiming that this is just one game. But whenever I've seen Vasquez step in for Carval, we all know that his deficiencies going the other way, it's not really eye catchy. But whatever he does on the front foot is a difference maker, basically.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, I think Lucas was pretty brilliant. He knew where to position himself into spaces, and I think he was ably helped by the fact that Modric and Valverde were covering the defensive spaces for him. But then, whenever he got forward, he was able to, create havoc. He was able to play in some balls that really troubled Getafe. It was another thing that a lot of times we were getting caught offside due to our strikers and attacking midfielders, like the way our runners from midfield were positioning themselves. But I think he played a brilliant cross for Hostelu to score the goal, and overall I was like very happy about how he performed in this game, especially offensively, and I think even defensively he was no slouch.
Didn't we play a kind of a 4-3-3 mostly tonight?
Without getting too bogged down in what kind of formation we started with, I felt like when it was the usual, it was like basically
Okay.
Hoselu and Vinicius.
Because whenever I saw us transition, they were like Fede was basically giving us the width for large parts down the right.
I think the thing about Fede is like he steps in defensively, he steps in offensively. So something that Mus was saying in the group chat, Fede, this man, like the lungs he has, everybody has to be envious and like why did I not have this much stamina? So I think Fede Valverde's role always has been like this. We've seen it for the past couple of games. He's like he'll when it comes to defensive phase, he'll step up and pressure the opponents, harry them whenever they are coming into the defensive spaces. And when it comes to transition, he always makes these runs. And like you said today, he was providing the width on transitions. Other times he was kind of running inside and being the man around the box to provide that outlet. So overall, I think brilliant game from Fede.
At one point in the game, I think when it was Modric who played the beautiful ball to Fede, I think he was playing centre forward as well.
Yeah,
at one stage. Yeah,
his positioning and his runs today were like immaculate. For
100%.
me, I definitely felt this like whoever is like why does Fede start every game? What is Fede's utility in this team? There are people out there. When you go on social media like Twitter and Reddit, you meet these people, and they'll be always asking you, why is Fede an undisputed starter? What does he bring to this game? I think today was a particularly great example of what Fede brings to this team, the energy that he brings, the pressing ability, the ability to make runs, the ability to carry the ball across the lines. I think this game was like the epitome of what Fede Valverde brings to Real Madrid.
100%. Agree with every single thing, man. Like we kind of were talking about Vasquez, but I guess it's only it's only us doing due diligence by basically crediting Fede for basically giving Vasquez the platform to be so lethal. Yeah, and he took his cross well, and we have seen that connection before, with Hoselu, and he has a penchant for a very very lethal dink cross, which in my opinion it might seem a bit too overrated when I say it like this, but I think it works at least 7 out of 10 times. And he dinks the ball in from the right hand side. Lucas Vasquez, it's well weighted. The placement is perfect, timing is perfect. I would argue that he's the best crosser in the side.
No, and I think the thing is like we have to keep something in mind is the fact that today Getafe gave us a lot of space to exploit, right? That gave
100%.
our players, our attackers, especially in the offensive areas, time to decide, time to make the right decisions.
Not the best crosser, second best crosser behind Danny.
I mean, okay, whatever you want to say about that, but the thing is, like, we have to keep in mind that we had a lot of space, time and space on the ball today, so that kind of lends itself into putting in good crosses. And I think Lucas today did like exceptionally well on that regard.
Yeah, man, big up Lucas Vasquez. I hope he gets an extension because, in my opinion, he's invaluable. Like I think he should be deserving an extension more than Nacho at this point. There is still 6 months or so to be played in the season, right? There are still ways to go, but yeah, for me at least, Lucas Vasquez has a higher. He deserves it more,
I think
basically.
Both Nacho and Lucas should be getting extensions. For me personally, I think
100%.
Real Madrid needs at least 4 centre backs. So you're definitely gonna have Militao, Alaba, and Rudiger next season. So I hope Nacho stays because this is like our 4th centre back. At this point, so you kind of like have to. Like appreciate what Nacho does. And I think definitely he has had moments of weaknesses this past season, but like today when after Rudiger went off, I think Nacho kind of became more aggressive and like marshaled the back line decently well for me. And Lucas, as you said, after this game especially, but even without this game, we talked about it in the preview, and we said that for me personally, I think Lucas at least deserves one more season at Real Madrid.
100%. Nacho, again, since we're on the topic, I wasn't, too keen with some of his passing. Wasn't top notch, but yeah, like you said, like he was aggressive. Some of his forays, especially carrying the ball, trying to, break the lines was neat. Um, but again, it's Getafe. I want this sort of composure, even in games that's gonna have a bit of a higher stake. Um, but yeah, the Rudiger thing, should we touch upon it? I guess we should, right? Before
Yeah.
we get to the comments, I think Rudiger's like when that happened, right? Like this is a blur for me because I'm watching the game and I see Hosselu. I mean, not fucking. I see
Greenwood.
Mason Greenwood,
Yeah.
yeah, trying to run down the line, and he's very confident in himself. He's like, I have real chance, and then boom, life hits you hard. That's Rudiger, like a freight train. He takes him out. I'm buzzing, right? I'm like, yeah, give him a piece of that, right? Like let him, reminisce his former days, in fucking Stockport with that, give him a little, reality check. But straight out of that, Rudiger starts limping, and I'm, boom, I'm shot down back to earth. Maybe it's karma for me, for thinking, kind of Mason Greenwood, kind of, was shafted. But when I deeped it, every single passing second, you could see people even on Reddit, on Twitter, they were all going loco because we all knew what this means, right? Like not just in the prospect of this game, not just in the prospect of just the derby, which is 3 days from now, just the face of the general season was potentially at jeopardy. Like, talk to us, man. Like, what did you feel, and what like how do you feel reading those reassuring stuff from the press as of late as well?
For me, the thing is, like, when I saw the moment, this was like the worst nightmare for every Real Madrid fan suddenly made real,
Yeah.
because like, we've been talking about this since the start of January, I guess, ever since Alaba got stretchered off with that ACL injury. Real Madrid, like, we were everybody, like, in the fan base, everybody almost agrees that we should have signed a center back, at least a stopgap, somebody on loan, or maybe even recall Rafa Marin, right? So that we have a member. But right now, if Rudiger is out for a long, even a short to medium term, we are stuck with Nacho basically being the only recognized center back. And the thing is, like, your fourth choice center back, suddenly your first choice center back, that's never good. So for me, that was like a moment where I felt like the worst nightmare had become real suddenly. And now you were facing in the depths of reality, knowing that Real Madrid, despite everything that they had done good this far this season, now everything might go to waste. This has happened before. But Real Madrid, like, if you like, I'm sure you remember from 2014-15 season when Modric's
Mm,
injuries like completely derailed a season. We
yeah.
started off with like 22 victories on the bounce, and then
Yeah.
to go from there to end up trophyless is like it was a massive disappointment. So for me as well, I think that was the thing that came into my mind as soon as Rudiger went down and started limping around. So when I read online reporters saying that it was just a blow so far, but it doesn't think it is serious, it was kind of reassuring. But we have been here before. They have said that it is reassuring, it is not serious, only for a couple of days later to find out no, it is serious. So for me, I'm still holding with my bated breath. I hope this isn't anything serious. The first thing I said, I'm sure you remember as well, is like, when is the
Mm,
transfer window closing? So
yeah.
I was trying to figure out if Real Madrid can maybe recall Rafa
And you
Marin.
you you heard my response as well, right? What we're gonna do? We might even start, Butrageno, Piri at centre back. That
Yeah,
was the most we're gonna do.
yeah.
It's just
Somebody said
fucking idiotic from a club our size. Mm,
somebody said Arda Güler is gonna play center back. So I don't know what might happen, but yeah, man, this is not an optimal situation for me personally.
mm.
With the rumors that Chouameni has been booked after the game, I'm not exactly sure why that has happened. So I'll have to
Me
check,
neither.
because
Mm,
we were like trying to come online and setting everything up, so didn't really have the time to check what the media is saying about it. But if Chouameni has been booked already, he's gonna miss the game against Atleti. That's a huge miss, if especially if
mm.
Rudiger is not fit.
This is typical Madrid, though, right? Like for people who are like super invested in playing FIFA career mode, like I've seen a lot of guys, when they kind of get too bored by a particular AI, they're like, how can we up this? And they, change up sliders to make it even more aggravating. And this is something akin to that, right? Like we already had, so many issues to deal with, and then you add the Chouameni yellow, and then you add the Rudiger knock to the mix, and what is the centre back situation looking like? Guys in the chat as well. What are we going to do on Sunday? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the fact that only Nacho is our recognized centre back right now, and if Chouameni is out as well, I'm struggling to find who will play centre back. And I think I remember Carletto was saying in the press conferences that he's going to play Carvalho as centre back. So, Carvalho as centre back, Lucas Vazquez at right back. That's against Atleti. That's not optimal, especially with the fact that they have a good header of the ball in Morata. I think this is going to be a game I'm going to regret a lot.
Lorente cross from the right, 1-0. I'll just tell you right away.
Lorente, even forgetting about Llorente is like, they have Samuel Lino on the left side. Samuel Lino going against Lucas Vazquez and trying to cross the ball into.
Good night.
Yeah, Nacho and Carvalho. I mean, Carvalho like did himself justice when he played against centre back against Chelsea, but that was like a few minutes. Here it's gonna be a whole game, and it's like a different kettle of fish. Especially that was against Lukaku. This is against Morata, so there's levels to this game right now.
A few years ago, people would scoff at that, but now,
I mean, Morata
fortunes have reversed.
So, you need to give him the respect he deserves.
100%. But again, this is just very, very hard to stomach. Especially we have a preview tomorrow in less than a day, right? In like 20 hours, we are going to preview the Atleti, derby, and kicking that off with no centre backs to field.
Hopefully, by the time we do the preview, we have a better picture of where Rudiger is at and what the situation with Chouameni is.
They're gonna be scans tomorrow, especially morning, and we'll get to know. But I'm not holding out any hope. I'll be honest. We all know, like you said, how things work. Let me get to a few of the comments before we move further. More, if you can help me. Starting off from the very top, big up Ashik, man. They're saying Joselu maybe needed to be a bit selfish. Then he have his hat trick, and then you would have had your Haji jersey as well. Farouk was very keen to mention in the chat that he got away with one tonight. But
he's hiding in Nigeria not to buy that shirt.
Yes. 100%. Ashik is also mentioning the match was a snooze fest at best, though. It wasn't a snooze fest. It was interesting, but it was fairly easy for us. Especially it's majorly down to the fact that Getafe didn't bring anything to the table. The first 45, they were just passive, really. Letting the game by. In front of their eyes without doing anything at all until
I think we've gotten used to the adrenaline burst that we get with watching Real Madrid make comebacks. That these normal games where we win easily kind of like feel like snooze fests.
Yeah. That's a very valid point. The Borderless kind of up the ante, bringing on a few changes at halftime, and they looked, to have kind of, up their tempo and kind of started better than us. But then as soon as we got the goal, 10 minutes into the second half, it was, I think, done and dusted.
When they sort of like, up the tempo, I was like, this is only going to end two ways. Either Getafe score a goal or, we are getting a goal. And luckily for us, it was us getting the goal, because them attacking us, I think it kind of led a lot of space for us to exploit. And I think we did a good job.
100%. Back up Doris. Doris was mentioning, the game would have been better, especially if Vinny scored his chances, killed the mood. Not going to speak on it. It's just, a very concerning aspect of Vinny's game for me.
We've spoken about this in previous episodes. The fact like Rodrigo and Vinicius, they're always trying to do the spectacular. Sometimes, the easy thing gets the job done. I don't know why they have to.
The keeper is basically on the floor. He's trying to beat a guy who's already on his backside. I don't get it. Is he playing FIFA Street? Just be clinical, man. Put your feet through it. Like he's trying to dink a guy who's on the floor.
Yeah, I have no idea why he did that. I think Ancelotti has been, when Ancelotti came, he said the first thing he told Vinicius was the fact that he shouldn't be taking too many touches in the box. So with that in
Mm.
mind, one or two shots, one or two touches, and he straight away put it into the goal. Don't think too much, just put it in the goal. I don't know why he was thinking it there. That was like a foolish
I'm telling you, the
decision.
number 7 has made a difference. I'll just be
No, man,
very
I think
honest.
they were doing this last season as well. Rodrigo and Vinicius, both of them, they used to do it last season as well. But last season we had Benzema, so we were like, yeah, these guys are young. These guys are not the main focus. It's Benzema. So as long as Benzema is performing, he kind of took the pressure off of them. But now, right now, these guys are the attack, right? They are the main guys.
Yeah.
So when our main guys are doing this, he kind of like shines a lot more, and you hate it a lot more because you can't rely on Benzema's anymore.
Should have had a hat trick. Joselu and Vinny both should have had a hat trick in my opinion. And Vinny, have to be more cold blooded, have to be more,
Yeah, man, he
have to
needs
have
to
more
work on his
conviction in his finishing.
he needs
Yeah,
to work on his decision making, both him and Rodrigo.
because in the Champions League, when push comes to shove, and he might get one chance of a lethal counter, and then he fluffs it, we are fucked.
And I think
I'm just
this happened in the last game against Las Palmas as well, right? Where he was
yeah,
trying to lob the keeper. Like the keeper was
yeah,
6'4". I don't know what he was trying to do, trying to lob him from
yeah,
close distance while he's standing. So
yeah.
yeah, decision making, Vinicius, Rodrigo, both of them need to work on it.
I remember the Nacho ball to Vinny when especially like towards the first 10 minutes that was on a plate, right? Like Cristiano finishes it, but we can't expect. I didn't expect Vinny to finish it, but he got himself into such a good position. He just had to find the finish, place it bottom right corner. But yeah, that sort of finishes like we have to expect from him. That pressure should be put on him. Nobody should defend Vinny, from here on in, right? Like from this season especially, saying that oh yeah, like we all knew his finishing is poor. No, that's not. That absolutely shouldn't be the narrative. If he is getting into such a good position, we should put the pressure on him to be finishing those chances. Because he put away a similar chance against City when we were up against the wall away at Etihad. When we won the 14th, right? Like so, he should be doing it more often now.
I think
Especially
at
like you
some
mentioned,
points in
how
time, Getafe
Benzema's.
did well, trying kind of like pushing him out wide with the
Yeah,
way they push players of position. So I think it kind of tightens the angle for them to finish. But some of the chances, especially, I thought Vinny should have done better if he had a little better when it comes to taking his decision, like how to shoot and the technique he's going to apply. He's trying to overthink it and going for the spectacular. When he does that, I think he kind of always struggles. Even against like I said, against the game against Las Palmas, he a
yeah.
lot of times he was making trying to go for the spectacular, and it kind of like ended. It almost cost us. The good thing was like Chouameni stepped in and scored a goal, and we were also pretty happy with the fact that one of Vinny's exceptional moments paid off. So yeah, I guess as long as we keep winning, it's good. But some of these things, it has the potential to cost us in the Champions League, like you said.
I hope he finds his finishing boots, man. I have no energy to discuss about this any further because like if he doesn't know the pressure is on him, like he should be doing after this game what it's gonna be like, especially in the Champions League. But big up Flame Boy, man. Big up yourselves. He was asking any reason why they booked Chouameni. I was trying to find it as well. I couldn't read anything online. This was like 10 minutes ago. Maybe something might have come to light as to what was the actual reasoning more. If you want to take a look at Meta Extra, if they post anything, feel free to do so. Ashi was also mentioning this was as bad as watching Spanish national team live. They're boring, trust me. I had to sit through their side way passing until Japan brought them to reality. That guy King was mentioning that the ref was shit. Yeah, no doubts about it.
That guy,
Even in the
I didn't
first
see that
stuff.
comment.
I think there is a soft censor in the chat. I don't know who had enabled it. Maybe Jacob. If they say shit, in the comments, it gets disabled, soft disabled. I clicked on show, but it doesn't show up. I've no idea. But big up that guy Kingman. The ref was 100% shit. Especially in the first half, where Vinny was brought down. That was a pen for me. That should be a pen. Mo, I don't know what you think about it, but
Man, there was a
this is
pen. There was another pen in the second half when, like, towards the end of the game, where Brahim was brought
yeah,
on,
Brahim.
and they got away with a lot of off the ball fouls. The thing is,
Yeah.
like, many a time they were like kind of trying to block Jose Lu's runs and even Vinicius. So for me, after the game against Almeria, a lot of people were coming out the social media and saying, "Madrid, Madrid, Madrid." Florentino is playing. So after today, I think Florentino should definitely be asking for a refund. I mean, what is the point
Mm.
of giving them all this money if this is the kind of decisions that we are getting?
Absolutely. I don't get it. Like at this point, this is like the standard that we have been accustomed to. Like I wasn't surprised. This is exactly why players aren't really honest in how they, deal with stuff like that, man. Like Brahim just had to stay down and appeal.
Yeah.
If the ref didn't give it, VAR would have taken a look and it's a clear pen. It's clear
I
as
think in
daylight.
this one VR did take a look, but because the way the referee said he saw the tackle, right? So VR couldn't interfere because it's not a clear and obvious error. It's not something the referee has missed. Referee has seen it and still decided he's not going to give a pen. So VR is like kind of tied up in what it can do. But for me, I think this referee, Madrid, have always had a problem. If I remember, he was the referee in the Sevilla game. You remember that we scored a goal and suddenly he decided to pull the playback. So there's always been something with him. Even the Cristiano sending off from a couple of years back. I think it was his last season here in the Super Cup where he kind of pushed the referee. It was him, Burgos Bengoechea. And if I'm not wrong, he was also the referee when we went away to Valencia. So there's always been something with him. I don't know why the RFEF keeps, appointing him to our games, but whenever he has been around, I think we've had pretty, shitty decisions go
A
against
very
us.
punchable face as well. Absolutely punchable face. He could make the perfect five for Liam Neeson in the next Taken because yeah, man, I'm telling you, yeah, like he just riles me up every time I see him because like his face just screams passive aggression. For me, he just looked this nice guy who's underneath a very 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 shitty guy. But yeah, man. Big up NS Sports TV. Long time no see. I guess the Chelsea downfall, hit home. NS Sports TV. But yeah, man, big up yourself. Um, Jabada also. Big up Jabada. He says Ala Madrid. Ashu was mentioning the rest was a good call with the derby match in the weekend, which is a must win with Girona sniffing around. Jabada says should have killed the game off early. A lot of big chances missed because of ego, but nevertheless, 3 points. Vamos. Not ego. I wouldn't, put it to ego, but some of the chances should have been, especially Joselu could have had like a first half hat trick. It's as simple as that, we can praise him for how good he was, but this is Joselu. He wouldn't put away every chance. But yeah, like I get greedy, when things go our way. I just want, it to be 100% conversion. Yeah, man. Marcus Benningham says Ala Madrid. Yeah, I guess there's a lot more before we move on further. Who should we get into next? Mo, I think it's only right to speak about Joselu and what he brought to the table tonight. And yeah, man, he was pretty exceptional.
Yeah, man. I think Joselu, he had a couple of chances, like you said, even in the first half, but sometimes he was like offside, sometimes somebody else was offside. He had that one chance there, the ball like kind of hit the post where I think even if it had gone in, he would have been offside. So that was the way Getafe was playing, giving space. I was kind of surprised that even that deep in the box, they were kind of like playing the offside trap. But they got away with a lot of times. But that one time it had to be where they wouldn't get away with it, and Real Madrid were gonna make them pay. And like you said, Lucas Vazquez brilliant cross and Joselu brilliant header. The thing is like Joselu has always been good in the air. Now he had like 12, 13 goals after this game. So what more can you ask for from a guy who is supposed to be a backup striker, right? At Real Madrid. So him doing
Seven
this.
seven goals in his last 6 starts, I think.
Yeah, and I think even in his 5 years stay at Madrid, Mariano couldn't match that tally. So the combined he couldn't match that tally. So Joselu is
Yeah.
giving us an added dimension. The only thing I wish is like we had Joselu when we had Benzema. A 1-2 punch would have been brilliant.
Oh, Madrid Extra. Sid just sent me this on WhatsApp. He was I think it says he was booked during a play for a tackle, but the linesman later flagged for offside. So I think they are saying that our club is going to dispute it.
I
To show him
hope they
any
do.
yellow.
I hope they do.
I thought it was something regarding maybe a scuffle or something at full time because Ancelotti was seemingly mad as well, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was
For me as
on the
well,
back
that
of
was
that.
the impression because
Mm,
Ancelotti, I think, also got a yellow because of appealing for Brahim's yellow card. Sorry,
yeah,
Brahim's penalty that was not called. So
yeah,
yeah, I thought maybe it was because of that, but yeah, let's see what happens.
mm, yeah, 100%. I lost track while seeing that, but yeah, man, Joselu, 100%. Should have had more goals, but I'll tell you something. His decision making, I was impressed by tonight. Especially when he knew, like there was an instance where Vinny was offside. He had the composure to play the ball back and recycle possession, so that we can basically move the attack in a better angle. But yeah, man, Hoselu awareness tip top, especially the first touch to get away from the man and basically pull the goalkeeper to one side and place it the opposite. That's just pure number nine,
Yeah, I mean
classical
that
finish.
second goal like has to be one of the favorite goals that I've seen scored this season because
Mm,
the way he got away from the defender, like you like it
yeah,
like described it. He had the perfect touch to get away from it. The weight on that touch was perfect. The ball played into him by Vinicius was also pretty good. So taking advantage of that, the way he maneuvers himself away from the defender and then manages to place the ball into the opposite end, away from the goalkeeper. That was like it was a goal that anybody can be proud of. Even Cristiano, Messi, or anybody who scores that goal is going to be extremely proud of it. So for me,
100%.
one of the better goals that Real Madrid have scored this season.
100%, 100%, and also we gotta big up Vinny as well. Weight of the pass was, like you said, was perfect. Like he also had to drive the ball a bit forward. He had the composure to lay it off as well. Decent, and even Jude Bellingham. Vinny was wide open. If he rushed it, there might have been a slight doubt. Whether he would have ran offside, but he waited. Gave it to Mendy to Vinny, and
I
it
think
was it
that
was pretty neat.
I think the recovery from Jude Bellingham and the presence of mind to, because I remember earlier in the play there was an option to play Vinny through, but because of whatever reason he couldn't. So he had the presence of mind to decide what the right pass was in that moment without getting too frustrated or disappointed. So for me, I think Jude Bellingham, especially in the second half, the first half he wasn't that influential, but in the second half he really grew into the game, and he really drove Real Madrid forward. So I was pretty impressed by his second half.
100%, 100%. Talk about Jude, man. He didn't actually get on the score sheet. Wasn't really at it in the first half. The game kind of was being played around him. Looked a tad bit frustrated. At one point he was basically screaming at. I don't know who it was, but he was livid. I could see with some of the passing, but in the second half he stepped up. Was had a different vigor to him. Um, you know, Basically made so many key runs. Had so many key interventions as well. Going the other way. His knack for basically winning the ball back and then driving at the opposition players is just breathtaking to watch, man. Like when you watch it unfold, like whenever I see Jude Bellingham, like I've said this so many times, when I see him going in for a tackle, I just have this feeling inside me that he's gonna win it and he's gonna boom, um, turn on the dime and basically charge the other way, and he's basically unstoppable when he does that.
Yeah, I mean, I think earlier we and Farouk, we've talking about this before as well. When Jude Bellingham's utility to Real Madrid is not just based on the goals he scores, but it's also going to be based on the midfield play that he brings. And today was like a perfect example of it in the second half because like in the first half, like you said, he was a little bit frustrated with himself as well, with the way team was playing and the game was going right by him. But like towards the second half, he really stepped up. He kind of went deeper. He tried to get balls out because I think Real Madrid was struggling a little bit with getting the balls out. With the defense. This is a moment that we really do miss Tony Cruz. Because Tony Cruz wasn't there today, so nobody was actually helping out progress the ball out from the back. But Jude, he decided he was going to go deep, get the ball out of the back, and kind of progress it further up the pitch. So for me, those driving runs that he made today were like exceptional in the second half, and then his ability to spray passes and exploit Getafe's high lines in the second half to play the likes of Joselu and Vinicius through, create chances for them was like exceptional.
100%. Um, you know, Games like this really puts it into perspective that how much of a difference maker Jude Bellingham is. Even when like he's off the steam for the entire 45, opening 45. Yeah, man, like I couldn't speak enough of Jude, but we gotta kind of move on from Jude Bellingham. This wasn't one of his A-list performances, but there's more to come. Even when he's off the steam for a bit, you could see how much he brings to the table, and how much he lifts his teammates. That's something is which is also underrated, an aspect about Jude. But yeah, man, let's get into a few of the comments before we move forward. Ashik was mentioning, after watching a few La Liga games, I can say they have also gone down the toilet now. EPL, Bundesliga, Serie A are all snooze fest now, lifeless football. Yeah, man, Ashik has really high expectations. So for someone who has seen, the heights of individuality and whatnot,
Ashik
before
is
the
just a junkie for the highs of adrenaline.
yeah, before the system robots came into existence, football was better. We all know that. What can we do, right? But yeah, man. Hassan was saying, did you see Chouameni got booked after full time? Now he misses the derby. We are going to contest it apparently, Hassan. So fingers crossed. Right. Hassan was saying, fuck Good Relations FC. Bring Rafa Marin back now. Is that going to happen?
I mean, there are 4 minutes left. Has it happened by now? If it hasn't, it's not gonna happen anymore, I guess.
I don't think so. It's happening. It's gonna be Good Relations FC. Unfortunately, we gotta help Alaves retain their La Liga status, man. Like it's part of the game, right?
I mean, they might get us some points off of Barcelona. So.
I'm telling you, like if due to a yellow accumulation or some shit, or a knock or something, if Nacho Rudiger goes down before Militao, Militao is gonna come back end of March, right? Let's be optimistic. End of March, mid-March, when he's gonna be coming back. Before that, if they go down, I don't know where we go from there. But yeah, man. Marcus was also mentioning Morata's injured. He will he'll be surely missing the game. I didn't know that. Is he injured? Okay, that's massive news.
I don't think he's injured, is he? I'm pretty sure that he's going to be back for the game against us.
I didn't hear anything. Because like if something as big as that was happening, we would have. If he's going to miss, the derby, we would have known by now. But I'm not sure.
This is something that we probably have to confirm before we do the preview tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll probably have all the updates on Morata and everybody. So let's see.
Yeah. And Rajat will be also with us, so he'll have. The Atleti smirk on his face as well, after, the Copa. But yeah, man. Ashik was mentioning Vinny can bring in good money, send him to PSG and bring a humble, down-to-earth player like Mbappe. Okay, that was sarcasm. Okay, fair. Ashik was saying, at Sunay, don't worry about Vinny. In the Champions League, we have to worry about the centre backs, and none of our goalies are UCL caliber. Vinny's antics are least of our issues. I agree with that. In the Champions League, I think he's much more focused, driven. Yeah. Ashu was saying, Brahim and Joselu, what the fuck is up with the honest and selfless players? Joselu should have been selfish, finished the chance off, celebrated his first Clásico. I mean, first hat trick. What the fuck? First hat trick, and basically.
And made Farouk go buy that t-shirt.
Yeah. And basically, make Farouk get out of his, comfort zones in Nigeria, go hunt for a Haji jersey. It would be pretty easy to find, let's be honest, if it's a gala jersey, that Ashik wants. But yeah, man, he should be finishing that off. Like, I think it was basically, Hermano business for returning the favor, that Vinny gave him earlier with that pass. I guess, even on FIFA, like, I wouldn't finish it. I would pass it off. It's simple, a cross box. is as easy as it comes. And what happened to Vinny over there, bro? We discussed about it,
Yeah.
but yeah, he should be doing much better. Pricks are winners and world respects winners. Yeah, Ashik has no time for bullshit. We know how Ashik works. Um, Hassan was saying, according to the rules, you can't go back to punish a player for a foul after calling an offside.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we will know probably
Yeah.
more about this before the preview episode that
Yeah.
we shoot. So we should have some
Yeah.
updates for you guys like tomorrow. But let's hope that Chouameni isn't missing for the derby, especially if Rudiger is also not going to be there. Because otherwise it's going to be a
Yeah.
tough game.
I have no hope for Rudiger. If he might be pushed to play with being 40%, 50% fit. I hope the club doesn't do that, because we can take a gamble in the league. I know it's not fair, but we should think about the bigger picture. We shouldn't risk Rudiger because it's a derby.
I mean,
Emotions are gonna
I
be overridden
I think the
by go
impression
on.
that I get is the fact that
Mm,
it's just it is just pain because of how strong the
mm,
hit was in the moment.
mm.
So probably it should be fine in a couple of days.
But will we be certain until they take the scans
Yeah, yeah.
tomorrow
Tomorrow
morning,
they
right? Like that.
take the test, and we'll probably have a better idea. So
Mm.
let's see.
Right, right. Yeah, we touched about Jude. We touched upon Fede. Luka Modric for me was scintillating. He had a few iffy moments, but overall was very key in especially making forays down our right. Had some tracking back. He lost the ball in a very uh, um, they kind of fluffed their lines. Um, but yeah, man, Modric in general for you tonight.
Man, this is a point that I probably disagree with you a little bit. For
Hmm.
me, I felt that Modric did not have the same control that he used to do in the past on the games. I've always
Mm,
praised Modric for his ability to control games. Control uh, the way the games are meant to be played. Because whenever he was there, especially in European games, Modric and Cruz, they would set the pace of the game and control how the game was going to be played, and they had brilliant game management. But today, I kind of felt like that didn't exactly transpire. So for me, I was a little bit disappointed with Modric's performance. So didn't see the same level of play that I'm used to seeing from him. At moments I kind of felt that like the game passed him by, and I think more than the fact that Modric didn't perform, I felt like we were missing what Cruz brings to this team. The
yeah,
ability to bring the ball out from the back. I think while Modric tried his best, he doesn't really have that ability that Cruz does. So for me, I kind of miss Tony Cruz, and this was a perfect example of why you know Cruz and Modric always together has been the right strategy for Real Madrid. But right now, I think Modric is kind of going towards the tail end of his Madrid career. So for me, I wasn't really as enthused as you were. But let's see what Modric does. This is just
I
one
was
game.
just happy to see him basically indulge in some very creative attacking play. Like he was, in my opinion, he did his fair share of giving his all. Like I'm like I can understand like how you feel like he kind of let the game by him. It's understandable because he has been missing in action for how long? Like 2.5 weeks, right? So it's understandable that he might not have the same, um, um, same how do you say, same sharpness to his overall play. But yeah, man, like one thing I would also like to point out, was Modric ever a guy to be the progressive midfielder? Like, yes, he can carry the ball. I can see that. Like, he can really carry the ball from the first phase to the third phase. Like that, I think he did that to some great extent, especially like in the chance where Joselu Ifi, basically laid the ball off with a with a better weight. Modric probably could have taken a good shot, and really like that run from deep from Modric. But I feel you.
I
It
mean,
wasn't vintage
I,
stuff,
I
hundred
think
percent.
Modric has always been a player who has the ability to do everything. He
Mm,
in his prime he was a two-way player, a perfect two-way player. He could progress the ball. He could even make those passes that broke the lines. So he basically had everything that you want in a midfielder, right? He was
mm,
even good defensively. He could put in the tackles when needed, as needed. So for me, I've seen prime Modric play. I know you have also. So the thing is, like, we've seen prime Modric play. We have seen what poetry he brings to the game. But today, the thing is, like I said earlier, when you used to watch Modric play, you knew that there was going to be a conductor conducting the game. The way they managed the game, Modric and Cruz, both of them, it was something special. Especially on big European nights. But today, I kind of felt like Modric didn't have as much influence of the game. He wasn't taking control of the game the way he used to. So to me, it kind of felt like the game was passing him by a little. But you have said that he was missing in action for the past couple of games, so probably a lack of rhythm that probably didn't help him. So overall, let's see how Modric does, because Modric has the potential to be important towards the tail end of the season, especially in games like the Champions League, where I said Modric's game management is invaluable to a team like Real Madrid.
I hope so as well. Really hoping Carlo doesn't leave him out on the cold, and bring him back into the mix. That's what I want. We discussed this in the preview as well. We have been discussing this in post matches as well. He needs to be played into rhythm. He needs to be given a chance for one last dance, if this is gonna be his last dance. Ashok was saying watching Modric in his prime was like listening to smooth jazz, and Modric is aging, and there are still flashes of the Modric of the old. But time always wins; it's undefeated. Yeah, truer words have never been spoken. It's something very hard for me. See, like you guys know it very much by now that I am someone who just injects nostalgia 3 times a day. So to watch stuff like that, it's hard for me to even when I see decline, it's hard for me to speak on it as much. People would maybe slate me for my they don't have legs anymore infamous claim 2 years ago, but that was coming off of a completely different outlook of where our midfield was going. Now I think I've grown to basically accept some of the fates surrounding our legends. But yeah, man, Nacho, we discussed on Loon and Mo. That save, I didn't realize that was a save, but yeah, came in clutch, big time.
Yeah, man. I think a good the big question going into every game of Real Madrid this season has always been like, who is the number one keeper, right? I kind of feel like Lunin, with his performance over the past couple of games, is like he's kind of making it difficult for there to be a question, for there to be a question
Yeah.
who is going to be number one. So for me,
Yeah.
Lunin has to be the starting keeper for Real Madrid in important games, and I think we saw today why. Like at key moments, he made key interventions, and that those key interventions like kept the game easy for us. So I'm pretty happy with how he performed. His reflex saves on multiple occasions, pushing I think there was one save where he kind of put the ball toward. I think it was a Mayoral shot. He kind of put his fingertips to it, and the ball kind of ricochets off the goal. So for me, I think this performance from Lunin, like it just kind of encapsulates why all of us have been calling for him to be the starter ahead of Kepa.
I see some chest as well. I see some confidence as well. Like one thing that I would have shied away from praising Lunin, especially early parts of the season and even last year, would have been, the fact that he is not exactly outspoken. We have, I think, discussed about this a couple of times on this very pod that, he doesn't scream enough, he doesn't shout enough, he is not as vocal as someone such stature of Thibaut. It's understandable. He's still a young man. He still has to earn the trust of his teammates. Like at the moment in time when it's a comparison between Thibaut and Lunin, obviously he doesn't stand a chance, regardless of whatever the circumstance may be. But today I saw that when especially the Mason Greenwood had a very good shot, which just whizzed by the right hand post. Lunin was livid. He was basically claiming like get tighter quickly. Like what are you waiting for? Like what are you waiting? I think it was aimed at Nacho, who basically like tried to marshal the angle and try to close it down. But Greenwood had the presence of mind to go down his side, and yeah, Lunin is really gaining some momentum, and I really hope, man, if Thibaut comes in, it's good and well. Like until and unless like Thibaut is 100% fit to play, I wouldn't say that he would be forced into the lineup, but Lunin should stay, man. Lunin should stay. Like that.
As long
That
as he's
would be.
performing, and as long as Thibaut
Yeah.
Courtois is like not 100% or not match ready, yeah, definitely Lunin should be fit. But I think
But
Courtois
the thing
is
is, but also the thing is, this is the dilemma that we're going to be put up against, and what Carlo and his coaching staff is going to be, having to deal with as well. Thibaut might be match fit, right? But match fit isn't match sharp. We all know that, right? The game is tricky like that, right? Like to be match sharp, he has to be, like, in my
I
opinion,
think
like, remember.
once Courtois gets match fit, it is important to get him match sharp. So to get
Yeah.
match sharp, he
So
has to play games.
yeah, that's the thing, like where my heart, I know the brain would say, obviously, man, this guy single-handedly won you a final, maybe the Champions League, to a large extent. Like, you wouldn't go against him, you wouldn't fail from backing him, right? But still, my heart would say, Lunin really bided his time, was patient, had so much adversity, had a nobody come in from Chelsea and tried to, stake his spot as well.
I mean,
I would be heartbroken.
to that, I would
I'll be
quote,
honest.
I would quote a great man, a great man who like is a member of our podcast team. Luckily, Farouk, he would say this is not a business for emotions; it's a business for winning. It's a
I
business
know, I
of
know.
results. So what can we do?
I would really, really, like Lunin to be, trusted until, I'm also sure once Thibaut, if that's also like a mental aspect of the game that we have to, foresee coming, that if Thibaut is fit, he's on the bench, and if it's a very hypothetical situation. Carlo is never doing this in my lifetime. I'll guarantee you that if Thibaut is fit, he's going to start, right? But in case Carlo does that, Thibaut is fit and Lunin is playing, Lunin is going to feel the heat, and I feel like that's going to lead up to a few comical errors. If he's going to be benching Thibaut, so yeah, it's
The thing is, like,
he can't win, right, in this situation.
With Courtois' track record, there is no way I can see a manager like Ancelotti leaving him on the bench. Once
Yeah,
he's
yeah, that's the thing.
match fit,
Like,
the first thing for him is to play him into match shape and play him into match sharpness, like you said. So,
yeah,
but the only thing for me is like, is Courtois going to be ready come May or March, April?
he'll be
May?
ready. He'll be ready early April or something. No,
There have been some rumors, but let's see if they're well founded.
quarterfinal is what they say. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
How
there was a report from Miguel Angel Diaz, but let's see
Yeah.
if the report is well founded.
timelines are always optimistic, right? Yeah, you have a point, but like, I feel for Lunin, man, he can't win in this situation. I just hope things fall. Like, this is basically me praying that Thibaut's recovery is slow down. That's not absolutely the case, but I hope Lunin gets the fair hand of fate, at least this time, at least this year. I just really hope the boy deserves it.
But I think we have to commend Lunin for his mental toughness, because once Courtois gets injured, he kind of feels like this is my chance, but the club brings in Kepa, so he's kind of stuck on the bench again. But then to recover from that and still take over Kepa is like something really incredible.
You could also attribute that to Kepa basically pushing Lunin into this kind of a form as well. You could.
Yeah, I think last season when Lunin played, he struggled a little bit, but this season he really stepped up, and when he's gotten the opportunity, he's made himself counter, like you said.
After Lunin, who is our keeper? Is it Canizares' son from the academy?
I'm not exactly sure who's going to play after if Lunin is like. There have been a couple of players, we keep calling them, but I'm not exactly sure if the players we keep calling who are the ones who's going to start if Lunin wasn't there. But right now it's Kepa. So.
El Merengue boy says. Ashik was saying, don't forget that Lunin got his clean sheet. Big up Lunin, man. Quite alien to us. 100%. El Merengue boy, big up yourself, man. He was mentioning Ala Madrid homies. I want to thank Sunay for reading my comment about Joselu in the preview for this game. I think Don Carlo heard Sunay's voice in his dream and made the right choice. I'm not sure if this is my ex's burner account, because this guy has too much time for me. Anyway, man, big up Merengue boy, bro. Right, Ashik was saying 26th May. Oh yeah, I missed Hassan's comment a bit further back. He was saying 26th May may get yourself mentally prepared, and we are all going to be crying like babies. Is that the final match day in La Liga or something?
I'm thinking that it's the final match in the Champions League. Whatever may be the case, I think it's towards the end of the season. So Modric
Yeah.
might be leaving, so that's why he's not leaving.
Modric, Cruz, who knows?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I hope for our sake it's not Cruz because
I'm tired of this live call-in shows we do, end of every season. It has become the norm, right, Mo?
yeah.
Not a fan, right? Like, it's just ain't, the easiest. Because you're so overcome. Like, I
Last
remember,
season
like,
especially because Benzema
yeah,
leaving was a big shock to me.
yeah,
I wouldn't
like
say
even
entirely a big shock.
Casemiro.
Sorry.
Casemiro was a big shock as well.
Yeah, I
Let's be
mean,
honest.
Casemiro was like kind of we toward like it was kind of like mid window. We weren't really expecting it, but Benzema we knew that this
Mid-window,
was
okay.
yeah last episode of the show. For me, I kind of like had this inkling from last January that Benzema's leaving because of the way he was making his comments in the press. But like
Mm,
yeah, like when he finally decided that he's gonna go, we had this he's gonna go, he's not gonna go with Al Ittihad and rumors coming out and everything. So for me, it was like it was a tough break to take. And even before that, the season before that, I think a couple of seasons before that, actually, it was Sergio Ramos leaving. So that was also pretty, hard to see the season after Marcelo leaving. So for me personally, like these past few years, they have let go a lot of legends. But that's the thing about life. Time goes on, and new legends are formed.
yeah. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Like you have to wait for all these guys to turn legends. It ain't easy, time. I hate time. But the thing is, when you lead up to live call-in show, or like an episode, like a tribute episode, something, um, you wanna do your due diligence, and talk about them in you know in great to a great extent, and try to kind of put their whole tenure with us, on a plate, and dissect it and whatnot. This is all that is going on in my mind before we do it. But once I get to the episode, I'm just overcome by emotion. I can't think. I just can't really um yeah, carry myself well, can't articulate anything that I want to speak about. It's so messy. It's just like a messy breakup. It just doesn't sit right with me. All these farewells, and the chances are very high. Nacho, Luca, Tony is right there, man. Can happen anytime. But
So I think
yeah.
before we go on, we should see what Doris has like kind of got ready
Oh
for.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Big up Doris. She has been cooking something. I completely lost track of that. Yeah, people, watch what Doris has to say. Big up.
So guys, Valentine's Day is coming up and you want to impress the lady? Don't know if you've done enough? Well, Manscaped is here for you with the new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Elevate your grooming game to a whole new level and keep the romance alive all year round. Save 20% off and free shipping with code LBR20 at checkout. In this package, you get a bunch of things. You get a new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra with skin safe technology, to keep your sensitive bits down there safe. And it features a super bright LED spotlight, so there's no accidents in the shower. And yeah, it's waterproof. You get the nose trimmer or an ear trimmer if you ever used it. And trust me, when you get this, there's no excuse for you to ever have nose hairs just standing out of your nose, and no woman likes that, so really think about it. And you get a bunch of other things like ball deodorant, and this will really impress the ladies. I don't even need to tell you about that. um, and ball aftershave. If you're prone to irritation or redness in general, it will just feel better. It will suit the skin after you shave to put this on. You get in the package two little baggies. You get a pair of boxers and the new beard hedger pro kit. You get like a bunch of little pieces to keep the precision going, the length that you want, so it seamlessly, handles even trickier beards, with the very thick hairs and all of it. You are just safe with it. And if you want to be date ready, have the proper appearance for your lady, be properly groomed, this is the package for you. um Get 20% off with the code LBR20 at checkout and get free shipping with that at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with code LBR20 at checkout. Here's to keeping the romance alive, one smooth move at a time. Back to the video.
Yeah, man. Am I up?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Big up Doris, man. Big up Manscaped as well. It almost feels like we are being, properly, um, trained to do it, but we are just doing off the cuff. So big up Mo and big up Doris, man, for improvising. 100%. Doris, I think did it overnight yesterday. Again, it was a very small window, so big up Doris for cooking this in the background as well. You heard the girl. You know how Manscaped works, man. Um, Perfect occasion to gift something for your loved ones, be it a girl or a boy, man or a woman. Code is in the link, in the pinned comment in the live chat, also in the description below. I repeat, LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. It ships to almost every single part of the world apart from I guess Asia. Not exactly Asia, but I think countries like India and maybe parts of Africa. So yeah, man, big up Manscaped. They're going to be here for us for the long time, for the long term. If you guys show us and Manscaped some love, so make sure to do so. Yeah, where were we? A few comments before we move further. Ashi was mentioning, so your heart feels for Lunin, but will your heart go on for Lunin? If so, then it'll make Celine Dion proud. Yeah, man, big up Ashik. Lunin is special for me. She was also mentioning there's an affordable striker in the market and we can sign him to solve our goal scoring issue. A bit old, but he's a prolific goal scorer. We should sign him. He's good Portuguese player. Right. Yeah, you're right. If that happens, I'll be doing some mad stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it's never gonna happen. But we all hoped it's gonna happen, sometime last year. Nah, it didn't work out. Who else are we missing from the subs? Brahim came on, had an impact. Yes, should have probably scored his second opportunity. Should have gotten the pen for his first attempt as well. Pretty neat. Rodrigo, I'm not sure what to really say about Rodrigo.
I think he made a couple of good runs, and there were some
Yeah.
positions where he could have contributed to a goal. I think there was a chance that he tried to create for Bellingham. He laid it completely on the foot of Bellingham, but sadly it didn't work out. So I hope the thing is, when he came on, I felt like for me Rodrigo coming on was more about taking Winnie off, because I felt that some of the things that were getting to him, I think after that goal, that shot that he missed in the first one where Joselu passed to him, after that he was like, he kind of felt embarrassed and he was like, no, I'm gonna do better now. I have to score. And I think there's another one of Bellingham, and then same result again. Kind of when you have this in mind that I have to score, somehow it kind of makes it even twice more difficult.
When you miss 3 big chances, it's just gonna
so
play on your mind.
For me at that moment, it was just it was right for Ancelotti just to take him off the firing line, let him calm down, and bringing Rodrigo on probably was the better decision at that point. And Rodrigo playing in the left side, we kind of got to see him in his more natural role. And he was I felt like he made a couple of good passes and he tried to make a couple of good runs, but I think even with Rodrigo it was like, yeah man, I'm on now, so I have to score. So it sadly didn't happen. We couldn't get the third goal, and I think even for the Brahim opportunity, which we're talking about, the penalty, Rodrigo laid off a good pass for him to run on to. But overall, I think Rodrigo, all the substitutes kind of chipped in, but by the time the game was already won and the intensity was gone from the game, so you couldn't really see much from them.
Yeah, Ashik says Brahim is a special boy and we should treat him as so. In the world of rigid football, he does put a smile on my face, 100%, man. So does Rodrigo. Just need consistency, but they play instinctive football. Yeah, that's what I like about Rodrigo as well. He's my OG. People say that I go too high on Jude sometimes, but Rodrigo is my guy. I've just been wanting him to get that spark again from November, where he was on an absolute romp. he should find that back. He should be, starting games with a lot more, lot more chips on his shoulder. Let's put it that way. He should be a lot more proactive. Yeah. What else are we missing more? Can you think of anything?
For me, I think basically we've covered everything from the game. We covered
Yeah.
The team's performance and everything. So for me, I think we're basically up to it. Beyond that, Mendy had a good game against Mason Greenwood. I think that was like something that we were
100%.
talking about coming to the game. I think Greenwood, I think in the first half had to switch off from playing as a right winger. He had to go.
Yeah, he just basically drifted to the left, right? Like in hope of finding a leeway.
Yeah, and even then, I think Lucas Vazquez did a good job marshalling him. Second half, kind of Getafe kind of came back with a vengeance, but we got a goal and kind of killed the game. So for me, overall, it was a pretty good.
He got a silly yellow, I remember, Mendy. The stuff of legend, that Harry Kane does, sort of backing into the player. He got one against Las Palmas as well, no? When he came on
I think Mendy
for a similar challenge.
Mendy today got a yellow card for kind of stepping on a player.
Oh, he stepped on it. Okay, stepped on his foot. Right. My bad.
Yeah, it was kind of a late tackle and everything. So, but yeah, Mendy was definitely good against Greenwood. And apart from the big talking point of Rudiger's injury, I think Nacho was also once Rudiger went off, Nacho kind of stepped up into being the leader, leader of the defense, and he kind of decently played well.
We touched upon it.
Yeah, and Tchouaméni, I think once he started playing centre back, I kind of felt like the ball progression from the deep kind of got better, but then it's also helped by the fact that Bellingham was dropping much more deeper.
He was phenomenal in midfield. I'm not sure how I missed not talking about him. He was really good in midfield.
Yeah, man, definitely. I think he this is something that we talked about previously. I think you said that you wanted Tchouaméni to improve positionally. With his positional awareness on defense, kind of like Casemiro used to do. Well, not exactly Casemiro. I think he has improved exponentially in that aspect because his positioning while defending and his ability to cut off passes and crosses has improved from what we used to see when Tchouaméni came into Real Madrid. I kind of always saw him as a guy who knew when to step up and pressure opponents, but right now he has developed this other attribute where he's positioning himself well in the half spaces, and cutting off passes and crosses. So for me, I was pretty impressed by his display today. Although, like you said, it's only Getafe, but it's a good barometer of where.
At centre back, I'm not a fan. I'll tell you honestly.
I mean, I do agree with you because he doesn't really give off the confidence that a centre back would. But for me, today as well, I saw something, and even before, I think his positioning has improved a lot ever since he started playing centre back in the defensive aspects of the game, and his distribution kind of did help us out, today to get out of tight situations.
Do you remember that reverse pass he gave for Lucas Vazquez as well?
Yeah, that thing. But there was one moment where I kind of didn't like what him and Camavinga were doing. I think it showed a lack of maturity in the game because I think the intensity dropped where Mayoral kind of got the shot and Lunin touched off.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that one moment was kind of iffy for me, but overall I think Tchouaméni was pretty good.
Camavinga was decent as well as the holding midfielder.
Yeah, Camavinga was decent as well, but these moments they have to do better in these moments. They need to show more maturity and realize that the game is for 90 minutes, not for 60 or 70 minutes.
100%. It's just naivety, man. That's why we need a blend of both young and old, because all those cries for basically ditching our experienced heads, it never really sits right with me. It doesn't sit right with the majority of us, but this is exactly why, because sometimes especially we are kind of in the Camavinga bracket, but not anymore. I wish I was, but we used to lose our way, temperament as well. It's just part of the maturing process. But yeah, Big Up Hassan, he was saying he'll get back into the groove, playing in that certain position. Though we know he cooks on the right, but Rodrigo on the left is different gravy. Yes, when Vinny was out, we saw what Rodrigo was about, but I don't think the side really matters for me, because Rodrigo, in my opinion, can be pretty lethal on the right as well. It's just when Vinny comes on, it's different. He basically has to take a backseat. There's no other option. He has to come looking for the ball because he just gets bored of not being chosen as an outlet. It's understandable, but in big games, I'm telling you, Vinny is gonna be, double teamed, triple teamed down the left, and Rodrigo's gonna find his space and find his moments, like he did, like he does always. Um, Ashik was mentioning there are players that are not celebrated, but they do so much of the game that the media ignores. Askes Joselu at that type, they do a lot of blue collar work for our star players to shine. 100%, man, 100%. 100%. Right. I guess that pretty much, wraps it up. We have a preview lined up tomorrow for 1 p.m. EST. It'll be great if you guys can join us as well. We'll be joined by Rajat, our resident Atletico supporter, Atletico fan, and he'll have a lot of not so nice things to say about how we got knocked out and whatnot. But yeah, like he'll be closely watching and being a little more optimistic after tonight's recent developments in our team setup and whatnot. But yeah, man, big up our listeners over all the audio platforms. Big up people who were tuning in live as well. Ashik, Hassan, Javada, so many people. If I'm missing someone, please.
El Merengue boy.
El Merengue boy. Yeah. my ex's burner, but yeah, man, big up Merengue boy as well. Yeah, man, big up people for sending in feedback as well, negative or positive. I say, that's the biggest thing that I look forward to, especially hearing how we can improve the setup, how we can make this conversation a little more dynamic, how this conversation can be a bit more two-way as well. Like I always mention, this podcast is what it is because this is a two-way street where we can change opinion, where we can have a conversation, have an open conversation without prejudice, without any sort of front. Big up our partners over at Real Madrid Committee as well, long-term OG guys, from way back when. Check out their fan page, link is in the description below for everything Real Madrid as well. Big up our partners, Manscaped. Big up Lewis, especially Lewis over at Manscaped for being so cooperative, so patient with especially carrying out the initial formalities, also as well as giving us basic pointers for how to carry this out smoothly. Yeah, man. Like I always would like to reiterate, Manscaped is the pioneer in below the waist grooming, but it's not exclusively below the waist grooming. They have a whole catalog of stuff for both men and women, if I'm not mistaken, including stuff like lingerie, boxers, beard trimmers, nose trimmers, all of that. Deodorants. They have a whole lot of stuff, man, and they ship to almost everywhere in the world. I repeat, use the code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping over at manscaped.com. So yeah, man, this is the easiest way to show some love for what we have been doing and show some love for Manscaped as well. Also, I would like to point out that this partnership also depends upon how much love you can show both of us in this in the period of this promo as well. So yeah, man, perfect occasion, perfect excuse to gift someone something from Manscaped, with Valentine's Day around the corner and whatnot. Again, Hassan says, and until next time, Ala Madrid is basically doing the outro for me. Big up Hassan, man. He just knows it by heart by now. She was also saying, Manscaped, they help you groom below the waist, but they never hit you below the waist. Big up Ashik, man. Big up Ashik. Has the perfect, he's the perfect poet, for us. What would he do if he was the host of this show? He would be 100% better than what I do. He'll do a better job than what I do for sure. Yeah, man. Looking forward to speaking to you guys very soon. Less than a day, less than 20 hours to go for a preview as well. So until next time, people. Ala Madrid.
Ala Madrid.